the Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And then we're like, whoa, I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice...
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly are teaming up to dig into the truth behind Ellen DeGeneres. And it's nothing like the polished persona you've seen. Behind the smiles and dance breaks lies a story that's wild, awkward, and shockingly funny. Think daytime TV is harmless? Think again. This saga is messy, fast unfolding, and packed with jaw-dropping twists. Buckle up. This isn't the Ellen you thought you knew.
A beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough.
Ellen is like an old...
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
You know that feeling when someone seems a little too perfect, charming, adored, endlessly nice, and you start to wonder what's really going on behind the curtain? That's Ellen DeGeneres, the queen of daytime TV, the face of feel-good moments, and the icon who made kindness her personal brand. But suddenly, out of the blue, two bold media heavyweights step in to question the narrative. Not one, but two. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly. And just like that, things start to get a whole lot more interesting.
See, like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they have like...
That's right. Joe Rogan, the podcast king known for grilling everyone from fighters to fringe thinkers, and Megyn Kelly, the no-nonsense journalist with a talent for slicing through spin, are both turning their focus to Ellen DeGeneres. Their goal? To find out if that legendary kindness can withstand a little heat. Spoiler? It couldn't. What followed was chaotic, cringy, and honestly, hilariously revealing.
Question for you on this. This is perfect for you because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party. And Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And
let's kick things off with Joe Rogan. His podcast isn't just a conversation, it's a cultural microscope. And if something doesn't add up, he's on it. Even Ellen, the untouchable queen of be kind, wasn't safe. Imagine Rogan, in his classic no-nonsense tone, pausing mid-thought to ask, wait, how does that wholesome image square with all those behind-the-scenes stories? He's got a radar for phony PR, and Ellen lit it up like a Christmas tree.
Staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays the victim.
Joe Rogan didn't treat this like your average round of celebrity gossip. This was cultural excavation. He wasn't chasing tabloid headlines. He was digging into the whispers that echo through Hollywood's back rooms. The conversation A workplace that, beneath the upbeat tunes and smiling faces, sounded less like a daytime dance party and more like a high-stress pressure cooker. Think about it. The woman who had the world dancing to Pharrell's Happy was allegedly creating an environment where happiness was just another part of the performance. Staff smiled on camera, but behind the scenes, a whole different show. And Rogan didn't pull any punches. He painted a contrast so sharp, it made you flinch. The sunny, feel-good host America adored versus the reportedly icy, toxic presence. Backstage, it felt like watching a feel-good rom-com slowly unravel into a psychological thriller, minus the option to change the channel. But he didn't stop with Ellen. Rogan zoomed out and used her as a case study for a larger issue. Brand kindness. That slick packaging where celebrities sell compassion like it's merch, expecting fans to buy into the image without question. But when the brand doesn't match the behavior, people get burned. And Rogan called it out, plain and simple. Because when kindness becomes a marketing gimmick, something's seriously off.
They made progress with the strike.
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the rider strike, that's some dirty shit. They cross the picket line.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, press. I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Being behind the scenes.
You'd think that was enough to stir the pot, but that was just one side of the storm. Enter Megyn Kelly, coming at the Ellen narrative from a totally different angle, but hitting just as hard. While Rogan was busy unpacking the cultural illusion, Kelly went full investigative journalist, zeroing in on the machinery behind the Ellen brand. She didn't focus solely on Ellen the celebrity, she went after the empire, the lawsuits, the HR complaints, the behind-the-scenes workplace drama that rarely makes it into the glossy magazine spreads or soft focus interviews. Kelly wasn't there to trade niceties. She was there to connect the dots. And connect them she did. Methodically, relentlessly. She dissected the disconnect between Ellen's ever-smiling be kind messaging and the accounts of a workplace. That sounded anything but kind. What emerged wasn't the cozy image of a cheerful talk show set. It was a pressure cooker running on ratings, deadlines, and alleged management that pushed staff to the brink. And when employees raised red flags, according to Kelly's reporting, those voices weren't met with empathy. They were met with silence, or worse, dismissal. The result was a jarring portrait, a brand built on kindness, held up by a structure that reportedly lacked exactly that.
For me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with $100 million in her pocket,
$450 million according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred.
But Megyn Kelly went after more than Ellen. She put the media in the crosshairs. Her take was incisive. The press, she said, had for years looked the other way at Ellen's issues, which instead of reporting on them, they protected the brand from. While others were too nice, Kelly brought these contradictions out into the open, which in turn changed the story from that of contrived charm to one of very human imperfections. This wasn't tabloid titillation or sensationalism. It was a dissection of the most perfect elements of celebrity branding. And when you add in Joe Rogan's no-holds-barred skepticism, you have a very powerful 1-2 punch that is at once very thought-provoking and wild fun. Rogan set the stage by putting the shined-up stories we are sold under the microscope, while Kelly got in there and exposed the corporate underbelly with a surgeon's precision. Neither went in looking for drama. This wasn't about starting a fight. It was about in-depth storytelling. With a few well-placed jabs and a great deal of insight, they made Ellen's put-together image wobble off its pedestal. Also of note is the larger point here. It isn't just about one celebrity brand being brought down by the critics. It is about how we as a culture are drawn into these feel-good facades. And once the truth does come out, it is of a more human, often messy, and in the end, very funny sort of reality.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
Let's get one thing straight. This isn't some petty, mean-spirited takedown. It's more like peeling back the curtain on a well-rehearsed magic trick. The sparkle? Sure, it's there, but so are the smoke and mirrors. Joe Rogan and Megyn. Kelly aren't out for blood. They're more like the brutally honest friend who tells you what you don't want to hear, but probably need to. It's uncomfortable, a little jarring, and yeah, sometimes it's even funny. So what does this all mean for Ellen's legacy? That iconic Be Kind crown might be a bit tarnished now. Her perfectly packaged daytime empire suddenly feels less like a fairy tale and more like reality TV, messy, unfiltered, and way more complicated than we were led to believe. Those upbeat monologues and happy dance breaks, fans might never see them the same way again. And maybe that's the real shift, a wake-up call to the celebrity world that branding kindness doesn't buy you immunity. The era of hiding behind glossy, curated positivity could be running out of time. The kicker? Rogan and Kelly didn't need theatrics to make their point. No Twitter wars, no PR battles, just sharp analysis, deep dives, and the guts to say, this doesn't quite add up. In today's world, that's the real way to break the spell.
She's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to know, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen to get over.
Here's the real twist in this unexpected Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly tag team takedown of Ellen DeGeneres. It's not just about one celebrity. It's about the entire celebrity machine. When two powerhouse voices from opposite corners of the media world collide, whether intentionally or not, they do more than spill tea. They break open the echo chamber where carefully curated stories are either fluffed up or quietly buried. Think about it. Joe Rogan, the unfiltered podcast titan who's built his empire on long-form rants and hard questions, lives on the edge of counterculture. His whole brand is about rejecting the spin, questioning the story, and digging beneath the surface, even if what he finds gets uncomfortable. Especially then. On the other side, you've got Megyn Kelly, the polished, no-nonsense journalist with a sharp eye for contradictions and a track record of cutting through glossy PR with facts, receipts, and razor-sharp commentary. She's not there to speculate. She's there to prove. Together, they don't create ripples. They cause a full-blown cultural wave. Rogan brings the skepticism, the don't buy the illusion attitude his audience craves. Kelly follows up with cold, hard evidence. Lawsuits, employee testimonies, and investigations that turn Hollywood whispers into undeniable documentation. They didn't just scrutinize Ellen. They dissected the entire system that manufactures celebrity mythologies. And suddenly, that cheerful Be Kind mantra doesn't feel heartwarming. It feels like branding. A carefully packaged slogan meant to sell an image, not reflect a truth. In the end, Rogan and Kelly didn't just expose a talk show. They cracked the facade of a media machine built on curated kindness and choreographed charm.
Bush are jumping around. I mean,
That's right. She was buddies with Bush. That was like
she's
one of
a
the first
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning? Ellen.
Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, how are you feeling, how are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to, look, what the hell's going on? This is a daytime.
Together, Rogan and Kelly didn't just rattle Ellen's public image, they sent shockwaves through the foundation of celebrity worship itself. And here's why that matters. Audiences aren't just passive consumers anymore. Thanks to their starkly different but strangely complementary styles, there's a new wave of curiosity and skepticism sweeping through pop culture. People are starting to ask real questions. How much of what we see is authentic? How much is just slick PR? And when celebrities preach kindness or authenticity, is it genuine or just another marketing hook? The old idea of stars as flawless, untouchable icons, that's starting to feel outdated, even a little embarrassing. This isn't just Ellen's personal reckoning, it's part of a bigger cultural pivot. Today's audiences crave what's real. They're drawn to the flaws, the contradictions, the messiness. Perfection is no longer aspirational, it's suspicious. And that's what makes this so fascinating. This isn't just another round of celebrity drama. It's a reflection of our shifting relationship with fame itself. When a "be kind" mantra starts to feel more like a slogan slapped on merch than a lived value, people don't just shrug it off. They question everything. Even more striking, this cultural takedown didn't rely on viral meltdowns or messy feuds. Ellen didn't storm off set. There were no teary interviews, no defensive Twitter threads. Just two media heavyweights delivering sharp commentary, grounded reporting, and the kind of uncomfortable questions that stick with you. It's not just popcorn worthy, it's thought-provoking. A rare moment where entertainment pushes us to look past the sparkle and ask what's really going on behind the scenes.
Uniform, yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking to clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
Yeah, she does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch.
She dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Rogan and Kelly showed that you can expose contradictions, challenge the official story, and hold public figures accountable, all without the chaos of petty public spats. Their approach kept the conversation serious and thought-provoking, while still being engaging and entertaining. Looking forward, this could spark major changes. Fans who once accepted Ellen's spotless image without question might start scrutinizing other celebrities with similarly perfect reputations. The focus could shift to the messy, complicated realities behind those polished brands, making it harder for any "be kind" act to go unquestioned. This could mark the start of a new era in celebrity culture, where authenticity isn't just a buzzword, but an essential expectation. Maybe that's why Ellen's empire of niceness feels shaky now. Audiences are tired of kindness as a costume and want genuine humanity instead. So the combined power of Joe Rogan's counterculture edge and Megyn Kelly's journalistic rigor isn't just about tearing Ellen down. It's a cultural reset, a wake-up call for anyone who's been swallowing celebrity PR without question. It's about demanding better stories, real people behind the personas, and a lot less polished perfection on our screens. And honestly, that's way more satisfying than any reality TV drama.
To admit your mistakes. Of all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she...
At the end of the day, this saga reminds us that in a world obsessed with image, the truth has a way of slipping out, especially when unexpected voices like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly step in. If Ellen's legacy takes a hit, maybe that's exactly what needed to happen. Progress often means exposing the cracks behind our favorite fairy tales and letting the real story shine through. So next time someone preaches kindness from a stage or screen, it's worth wondering, what's really happening behind the curtain? Sometimes the brightest smiles hide the darkest secrets, and sometimes it takes voices like Joe and Megyn to bring those truths to light.